You see, there's some topics, right, that you might want to cover that will definitely come out insensitive, because majority of people, we love to hide behind keyboards and say things, but when you come out to say it, it sounds very insensitive. So I sadly will be one of those people who would maybe sound insensitive today, but this is no disrespect to them. Now, this is a couple that we have seen all over the internet for a few days right now. Some people say they're content creators, they're just making content. Some people say that was an actual marriage. Now, if it is content creating, they spent money because they went all the way out. There is love for everyone in this world. Yes, there is. But seeing this couple made me feel very sad. Because number one, if you look at him, you could clearly tell that something is not normal, right? And children are important, regardless if they come the way he is or with Down syndrome or anything. Life happens, right? But when you now look at the woman, that is the most miserable, I'm sorry to say, that's the most miserable woman I have ever seen. And as much as I would love to cry for him, I want to cry for her. I want to cry for her very badly, because if this is a real marriage and not content, then why? Clearly, this looks like an arranged marriage, and it's unfortunate because I have seen situations, not just if you have some form of difference. I have seen situations where families push their children into marriages knowing fully well that child will not be happy in that marriage under any circumstance, but they push them in there because of the financial gains that come out of that. This better be content, because if it's not, it is unfortunate, honestly. Now, don't get me wrong, this video makes me think of Solomon when I speak, because he had the whole outbreak of every life matters, and he kept accusing those parents of trying to discard a child, because of having Down syndrome, because he said it's all about the appearance. We keep forgetting that yes, life is not perfect, and life sometimes can serve you a different hand that you're not prepared for, not mentally, not financially, not physically for. But we keep forgetting that we live in a very, very harsh world. We live in a very harsh reality. And the reality of things, I have seen these people, their wedding videos go all through my timeline, and just watch the comments. There was nothing happy about the comments. All of them were making jokes. They were making mockery. This is what you put your child through. When God gives you, and the medical system gives you, an opportunity to make a decision for yourself, you say no. Every life matters. So you bring in children that end up suffering down the line. They have physical disabilities. They have all kinds of disabilities, and then on top of that, they have to face society, which will bully them from the second they leave that hospital to the second they get into school to the second they settle down to get married. But we don't want to talk about things like this, though, because it comes out as insensitive, it comes out as harsh. But the reality of the world is, the world will judge these people whether they are the happiest people or not. Now, don't get me wrong, just because you have a difference on you doesn't mean you do not deserve love. And truth be told is, there's so many, I've seen people, even just half, that got married, that were loved, that were cherished. That is different. This man over here is not an unattractive man. He's not unattractive. He's actually cute looking, He has a nice face. But unfortunately, I don't know what this is called, But find someone that loves you. Find someone. And if this is content you guys are doing, is the wrong kind of content, because you're not even giving hope to those that might feel, okay, maybe there is a chance for me. Because our parents sat down and made a decision because they were too selfish. They thought about themselves. They didn't think about the child. They made a decision to bring children into the world, not even caring about what their future would look like. But we don't want to talk about that though, because it's sensitive. Everyone in this life, I promise you, everyone, whether you have Down syndrome or God knows what other kind of effects, they have chances of finding someone that loves them, but not like this. If this is a true marriage, then it's an arranged marriage, and it is nonsense. Because what is the value of your child? How many goats did it cost? What did it cost you, apart from her peace of mind? And this is why I say all the time too, yes, we respect, we love families, we want to be loyal to them forever. But when your family is literally your biggest enemy, there's no fixing that. At some point in your life, you need to know when to detach from toxic family members. You have to get to the point where you say no, stop, enough is enough. You need to learn that. Because there are so many things that keeps us down in our lives, but we just don't have the mental bandwidth to even deal with that or remove that stress from our lives, because they come in the form of family. And if this is content, then I am sorry, it is the wrong kind of content, because you're not even giving hope. And it looks crazy. He's there trying to be jovial and happy while she is over there keeping face like it's the worst day of her life, which it probably is the worst day of her life if it's true. But we don't want to talk about these things, right? Because it makes us look insensitive. Every time I think of the statements and how hard Solomon tried to attack that couple, it really, really irks my soul. Because we are so good at giving advice when we have not been through those kind of situations. We have not been through dealing with a different child in the world. Raising a normal child is very hard on its own, the hardest job you could ever do. I'd rather carry bricks every day than have to do it again, But thank God, God blessed me with the mental capability of being able to be there for my child 100%. To lift her when she's down, to educate her, to infuse greatness into her. But I will never be put in a situation where this could happen. I mean, I went through that situation and I said, no. You don't look like you love just because you did this. You don't look like you're the strongest person just because you chose this when you had options. But you say no. Now, back in the day, we didn't have so many options. The medical system, especially in Nigeria, wasn't as advanced as it is. And it still isn't as advanced, But you have choices. Parents need to start thinking about the child. What is the quality of life you're bringing into this world? How are they going to function when you're not around? Who is going to cater for them children? Oh, we don't want to talk about that because it's insensitive. Anyway, if it's content, if it's real, I wish you all a blessed life.